Refreshing wild cherry cola meets smooth cream. The treat you deserve. Pepsi Wild Cherry and Cream. Treat yourself.
K-pop Demon Hunters, Haja Boys breakfast meal and Huntrix meal have just dropped at McDonald's. They're calling this a battle for the fans. What do you say to that, Rumi?
It's not a battle. So glad the Saja Boys could take breakfast and give our meal the rest of the day.
It is an honor to share.
No, it's our honor.
It is our larger honor.
No, really. Stop.
You can really feel the respect in this battle. Pick a meal to pick a side.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. At participating McDonald's while supplies last.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Underrated Movie Podcast. This is a podcast where I discuss films that are underrated, underappreciated, and ones that have flown under the radar and passed most people by. I am your host, Derick McDuff, and today I brought on a guest who, more than anyone, I think, is qualified to talk on Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice, the Ultimate Edition. And that would be Cole Garrison. Of course, we'll not actually be talking about Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice Ultimate Edition. We are going to be talking about a different film that stars Batman, where he gets into a confrontation with a ally/hero, and at the end, a third ally/hero who is a female comes in and assists them in defeating the big bad. And of course, that's going to be Batman and Robin. And of course, the person who I brought along to appease me in this ridiculous bit that I'm doing is none other than Cole Garrison. How's it going, Cole?
Yeah, thank you. Honestly, when you messaged me and you said this is what we're gonna do, I couldn't say yes fast enough. I'm still down to talk about Batman v Superman. I will defend that. And everyone who knows me, who tuned in specifically falling for this bit, I am so sorry, because I love talking about that film, and I defend that film, but I am so ready to dive into the ridiculousness of the Batman and Robin film. Let's do this.
Yeah, I'm excited, because, long-time listeners will know that this is not the first time that I've pulled this bit where I've been mentioned, like, well, we'll talk about Batman v Superman, and I'm sure I will talk about it eventually, and I'll have you on, of course, Cole, but in the meantime...
If you don't, I'm gonna be like, come on! All this shit you give me at conventions. I'm gonna look at you at every convention we go to and go, really? Really?
So before we get too much into these Bat films, obviously, people can't see at home, but you're wearing a Batman hat, you've got a Wayne Enterprises shirt on, you're the perfect guest for this, regardless of which one we're talking about. What did you want to let the people know about yourself, Cole?
Alright, so for everyone who does not know, I'm Cole. I'm part of the Welcome Party podcast. I am your personal geek color commentator, aka I have opinions and it drives people crazy, but I've been a geek forever. I was a geek before it was cool, which is such a weird thing to say because of growing up, like having to read comic books by a trash can because that was the only place that was safe to read comic books without being ridiculed. And nowadays, when I'm reading a comic, they go, "Oh, what are you reading? Oh, that's such a cool art style. Who's drawing that? Do I know them?" And I'm like, this is a weird world, which I'm happy to be in, but it's weird. But I've been a Batman fan for a very, very, very long time. There is a home video of me. I think I'm 2, maybe 3. I don't know. Maybe even younger, but I'm in the Batman Returns kid costume. I'm going to assume 89 because all I knew how to say was na 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 Batman. That's the only thing I knew how to say. So I'm going to assume 89, but I'm not entirely certain. But I've been a Batman fan forever.
Very nice. And see, the thing is, I feel like reading them next to a trash can would be more dangerous because then the bullies could just kind of push you straight into it. Like they don't have to go far. They don't have to get the trash can. You're right there. I don't know. I don't know about that.
They never looked over there. You had to be in their space. If at least for my school, if you ventured into their territory, it was like video games, right? Like you have your save zones, and then you have your like if you go into the long grass, they're going to find you.
Okay.
So that's what my school was like anyway.
All right. Good to know. Good to know. But yeah, to give anybody else there a little background on the film, if you're not aware of 1997's Batman and Robin, directed by Joel Schumacher, written by Akiva Goldsman, and starring, of course, top billed is the villain Arnold Schwarzenegger as Mr. Freeze. You also have George Clooney, Chris O'Donnell, Uma Thurman, and Alicia Silverstone. This is a movie that is pretty reviled, I will say. I have kind of a tradition here, in addition to pulling pranks, of doing movies that are so bad that they're good on April Fool's Day, and I think this one very much qualifies for me. This movie was famous for just kind of killing the superhero genre, not just Batman, but I think even Kevin Feige was like, yeah, I love this movie because it was so bad that it let us make good superhero movies. Like, hey, we actually have to respect the source material, and that's why Spider-Man and X-Men got made.
Oh my god. No, this movie, like, if you told me the superhero genre died because this film, there's a few films that fit that category. This is probably, like, the one that it was the right time where enough superhero movies were coming out, where the action figures were kind of, like, reaching their end, and KB Toys had their moment, that if you said this was the film that killed the superhero genre, I'd be like, you know what? This makes sense. I totally understand, because it's not good. It's not good at all. Like, you love it because you know Arnold Schwarzenegger was having the time of his life, and you play that drinking game, but man, when you look at the critic score, you go, like, you had to get paid to go see this film.
Oh yeah, and because it has that reputation over the years. So I don't know. I wanted to know. Obviously, you said you don't think this is a good movie. I would agree with that. I don't think it's a good movie, but I loved it when I was a kid. I kind of have that nostalgic vibe, and I was watching. I was like, I don't know. Like, what do you think about this movie? Is it so bad it's good? Is it just bad? Like, what's your thoughts on it, Cole?
For me, it's got to be. You have to go into it thinking this is a modern day Adam West 1966 Batman story. You cannot go into it thinking Batman Begins or any of the Tim Burton films or any of the comic books. You have to go in with the mindset of, I've seen the 1966 Batman Adam West, that series run, because as long as you accept the villains are going to be dorky, the jokes are going to be punny, dads around across the world are going yes to every joke. Like, as long as you accept that's the film, then you know it's a fun ride. If you're expecting dialogue to be written that is beautifully, like, you're like, oh, that was a good line, or you're expecting a story that's going to go, oh my god, it's captivating, or at least any kind of acting to save it, this is not the film for you. You have to accept, this is literally a kid's movie to the letter. Like, this is, when you say kids movie, this is what comes up, like, in the most negative and positive connotation as I can think of.
Yeah, and it's funny, you brought up the action figures, and so much of this movie is based on, like, what action figures they think will sell, to the point where, like, Poison Ivy even has a line about it, like, that's why every Poison Ivy action figure comes with him.
Yep.
It's, there's even a term for it, toyetic, which Marvel was bought by a toy company. That's the reason why a lot of those early Marvel films featured the characters they did, and that's why a lot of the characters in this, the vehicles in this, exist. There was apparently a big controversy when Alicia Silverstone wouldn't wear the cowl because they were like, we already made the toys, you're wearing the cowl in the toys, and she was just like, I don't want to wear the cowl. But yeah, a big part of this podcast is kind of looking at a movie and accepting it on its own terms. And right, you cannot compare this to the most other Batman movies, except for maybe Forever, which of course Schumacher also did. But this even cranks up that cheesiness, that Adam West Batman stuff to the next level. But it's like that Adam West Batman was made for a budget of like $12, whereas this was made for just like, it's one of the most expensive movies at the time to ever come out. And it's just, you really see that on the screen, and I love that you brought up the villains in this, because I think that the villains are really what makes this movie work, and all of the one-liners that Mr. Freeze, Arnold Schwarzenegger is saying, because you could just watch a cut of just all of his like one-liners and puns, just like chill out, what killed the dinosaurs? The Ice Age. I'm like, that's not even remotely scientifically accurate. He's yelling all these things, and Uma Thurman. And if you look at the cast interviews of the people who've like kind of like Clooney is like, yeah, I really don't love my performance in that. Like all the Alicia Silverstone, I thought
he didn't do shit.
He did not.
Literally, if you would have told me that he just read the line before filming, like it not before, like, oh, he had time to prep. I mean more like, hey, I had a party last night. What am I saying? Okay,
don't leave the K without it.
What?
I said never leave the K without it.
Oh my god! That's not even the worst line! For me, it was his delivery of everything. It felt like he was always a step behind everyone. It was like he was on Internet Explorer and everyone's on Chrome. There was a moment where like they're like, hey, so Alfred's dying, and I want you to know we think he's sick, but we can do it. And it's like a pause, and then he goes, well, Batman would say, like, you can see his dialogue. Batman would know the answer. I already know. And it's like, it's just like the pause. You're like, come on, George. And also, George is the only actor that when he wears the cowl, you don't see Batman. You just see George Clooney as Batman.
Yeah. And I think he's pretty solid when he has to be Bruce Wayne, and he's like, I'm at a gala. I've got a girlfriend who's like never mentioned again, after that like one scene, Like, he's good at that, but, like, when he's Batman, he's bad. And he, has talked about how much he does, like, he won't even let his now wife, Amal, watch the movie. But meanwhile, the two people that talk about this movie that really had a good time with it and still are like, yeah, I'm proud of the work I did in that, are Arnold Schwarzenegger and Uma Thurman, the villains, because they were just getting to, like Uma Thurman running around dressed like Chapel Row and just, like, saying all this insane shit. Like, the two of them are so good. They understand the assignment, and I think part of that is the tone where it's like the villains get to have a little bit more fun and like get to be ridiculous, whereas the heroes are trying to be a little more serious. There's like that whole Alfred is dying subplot, which feels very tonally different than everything else going on. But even that ties into like Schwarzenegger will still have these moments where he's like, my love, my heart is frozen for you, and it'll like have a tear that it comes down and freezes and stuff. I think he's able to like, he's able to like bring in that camp to those most serious moments where other actors struggle with it. But I think the two of them really get it. What did you think about the villains? And then Bane, of course, he's not even doing much, but he's just like, Bane, What did you think about the villains in this?
So I absolutely love Arnold Schwarzenegger as Victor Freeze. He is the only reason where you watch this film. Uma Thurman was like an awakening. Watching it now, you're like, how did she... Like I said, you have to think of the 1966 show, because she walks up looking like a supervillain, and everyone's like, who's this mysterious woman in all green? What, people happen to die? Well, it couldn't have been her. What? She's so hot. But like, no, like the scene of her coming out of the ground after... her nerd is so weird. But no, Victor, I cannot stress that I'm pretty sure he read every line and said, this is going to be the best day of my life. And just, I don't know. If I didn't see the suit at Warner Brothers Studios, like on a tour, I would think Arnold took that suit home. Like, that's how much fun it looked like he had. What about you? What did you think?
Yeah, no, I honestly, I think the two of them are so great. I when I was a kid, I obviously saw this. They came out when I was first a kid, and I was obsessed with the Batman movies, much like you were. Mm-hmm. So 1, 2, and 3, I loved all of them. And I could tell even at a young age, I was like, there's a definite tonal shift between these first two, which are like very dark and ominous, and then the next ones, which are like neon and like just have like all this insanity going on. And there's like gang members like with their faces like painted in glowing paint, and Arnold really, like I said, and Arnold and Uma understand the assignment. And to this day, one of my vocal stems is all Arnold's lines in this, where I will just say, like, somebody will say something about like I'll be getting ice at work. I remember when I worked in a movie theater, whenever I'd have to go get the ice, it'd be like, the Iceman cometh, or some shit like that. He's having so much fun. He really gets the assignment. And like I said, Arnold is the one person that I feel like is able to really bridge those two tones. Because there is that subplot about, the McGregor syndrome, which is obviously like a disease that is made up for this movie, but it's that tragic backstory that
which
comes
is so
from
good.
It's so good, and it comes from the animated show, right? Like, that was not from the classic comics, it's from the show where Mr. Freeze is doing what he's doing because of his wife. And then tying that into Alfred has this disease. That's how you bring in, Batgirl as well, although it's much different than, her character is much different than other adaptations.
Yeah. He's Uncle Alfred?
Right.
When they changed that story, I'm like, I kind of wish that movie would have come out now. Because I would have loved to see the nerd rage of, what do you mean she's Alfred's niece? No,
right.
She's the daughter of a cop.
Right.
She becomes Oracle. What the fuck?
Exactly. It's interesting because the only two actors I'm pretty sure that are in all four of this Batman continuity are Michael Gough, who plays Alfred, and the guy who plays Commissioner Gordon. So it's like, those were the two consistent things.
Yeah, which is kind of weird.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you changed her origin. You still had the Commissioner Gordon here, not doing a whole lot, but you changed her origin.
There's another person who consistently stays in it, and it's the reporter lady.
Oh, yeah. Is she in the
shows
first
up.
couple too?
She's in Forever. She's in Batman and Robin, and I'm pretty sure she's in Returns.
Okay.
But it's the thing is, like, when you see the background actors, you kind of want to be like, so you guys friends? Like, what? How did you get this? Because no one here is an amazing. None of the extras are fantastic. None of them. They're fun because, like the villains, they understand the assignment. But every single one of them, you're like, man, this is like, hey, here's the villain. Wink. Like, there's a part where in Batman and Robin where the two scientists who get defrozen, and then the telescope is turning about to hit them, and they go, "It's one of those days." And it's like, man, this feels like Gotham City, who's so used to Batman and Robin's shenanigans affecting their day, that they're just now. It's like, man, it's a Tuesday. Gah!
Right? Exactly. There's that whole line earlier where when you first get introduced to Poison Ivy, and she's still presenting as Pamela Isley, and they're like, "Oh, Batman and Robin protect us from everything, including plants." They're just like, whatever happens, we might get frozen, like there might be nerve gas, there might be a guy who asks us a bunch of questions, but like.
Pros, just because something on the job runs out doesn't mean you have to. Order it on the Lowe's app. My Lowe's Pro Rewards members get free same-day delivery on eligible orders over $25. Get the fasteners, hardware, or tools you need to keep the job moving. Order by 2 p.m. and get eligible in-stock items delivered right to your job site by 8 p.m. Members get more at Lowe's. Loyalty program subject to terms and conditions. Subject to availability. Restrictions and terms at lowes.com/shipping terms. Subject to change.
This episode is brought to you by Ferrero. Soccer's biggest stage is approaching, and Ferrero is making it easy to go all in. Pick any two Ferrero brands from Kinder Bueno to Ferrero Rocher, and you could win the $1 million grand prize, plus an exciting range of daily and weekly prizes. Don't miss your shot. Official rules apply. Learn more at goallinandwin.com.
Like, whatever happens, there might be penguins shooting missiles in the air. We're good. We've got Batman and Robin here.
When they all get defrozen, they just continue their day. And I don't know if that's the most realistic aspect of it, or if that is just it's like, you know what, if I lived in Gotham, it's like, yeah, I got defrozen. At least I got defrozen. Right. I have a cousin who got laugh gas and they did not recover.
Exactly. It's like that. Like the dog is just peeing on the hydrant mid-freeze. I remember that was my favorite thing. Everyone was, and then it just gets unfrozen. No, but like honestly, it's one of those things. It's like, would that really happen? Then we all live through COVID, and you're like, yeah, maybe actually this would be how it would go.
Well, that dog is in Forever too.
Is it
someone who he watches TV, or it's at least the same breed? Right, if it's not the same dog, it's the same breed. I'm like, this is such. It's got to be Schumacher's car. It's got to be Schumacher's dog. If it's not, like, that is just. Whose dog is this, and why is it in all those Batman movies?
Yeah, absolutely. To continue with like what we were saying about Schwarzenegger and how
Yes.
I think he balances those two tones. I really like the end of his arc where, full spoilers, we're getting to the end now. Who's gonna watch Batman and Robin who hasn't already seen it, so whatever. But like, I love that he's this tragic character who's doing all this ridiculous campy over the top stuff. But Batman has this moment, which I thought this moment really worked on, like, an actually, like, this is good. This is not just campy good. This is good level where Batman is like, hey, you were a doctor once. You found this cure. You're trying to cure your wife. Help me help someone else. And he just happens to, of course, have like these two little vials, whatever. But he's like, take 2 of these and call me in the morning, which is a fun campy line. It's a callback to the fact that he's a doctor, but it's also works emotionally. And I think he's the one bridge between the campiness and the very serious tones. I don't think anyone else really pulls it off. What do you think of the two kind of dueling tones in this movie?
Oh, yeah, no, that scene, I think George actually brought his A game because it was Arnold Schwarzenegger and him in that scene. Chris O'Donnell does not pull it out of George.
No.
Uma Thurman at the time did not pull it out of George. But Arnold, since he was like a movie star, definitely did. So that's, like, I agree. That scene was definitely very good. But when it comes to the two tones, it felt like the film didn't know what it wanted to be, because there's the camp, there's the over the top, there's the jokes, but then there's those undertones, like Freeze is doing this for his wife. Dick wants to be his own man. That Nightwing storyline that we all love, where he and Bruce break up, that was hinted at. You have Alfred about to die. You have those serious tones, and then it's like there's no poop jokes. But, like, that's, like, the one joke they didn't make. Like, every else was thrown out there. I mean, there was so many sex jokes. There was so many...
there was a lot of sex jokes.
Yeah. No matter what anyone tells you, Mr. Bane, the size of your gun, that counts.
Can I use the sign? How about here's the sign, slippery when wet. And I was like, oh, did not get that when I was a kid.
I didn't get any of those jokes as a kid. I took them very literal. And then as an adult, you're going, But going back to your question of, like, how I feel about the villains, I hated Bane. I still hate Bane. When that movie came out, I was reading Nightfall, so I knew who Bane was. And seeing him in that form, I just was like, this is such bullshit. And even now as an adult, it's such... He doesn't need to be in that movie. He is... The only thing that was, I feel like it was oh my god, Bane's in the movie. I think that's all they were going for. There was no plan. The way they beat him was lazy. After rewatching the movie, there's not even funny lines. He's not even funny. It's like you could have gotten any wrestler to do a way better job. If Macho Man was brought in to be Bane, that would be a way better job. And no disrespect to the actor because he passed away, but still, like, there was nothing redeeming about Bane. Like, Bane! But, like, it wasn't like the villain in Dr. No who throws his hat. This is Bane!
Right, because Bane is so, like, he's, known for being the brawn, but he's also the brain, and obviously, we got to see that kind of smarter, like, genius Bane character when we got to see, The Dark Knight Rises, I think Tom Hardy is really good in that movie. Yeah, Bane in this, like, you could honestly take him out and it would not really make a difference. Like, I always think of this movie as having 2 villains, but it does have 3, but Bane doesn't do really anything.
Nope.
Yeah, like, you talked about seeing this when, you're reading that comic featuring him. Mm-hmm. I was wondering about what is your history with this movie?
Oh my gosh. Well, so you said this came out in 97. So I was like about 11 years old when it came out. Up to that point, we had Batman comics. I had Batman and Batman Forever. And Batman Forever, I loved Batman Forever. And then anytime a Batman movie came out, I was always excited to go to McDonald's. But
yes, I still have some of those toys.
Yeah, like, it was a different era back then. But for when this movie came out, my history of Batman when this movie came out was literally just he was the only superhero that was really there. You had Batman, you had Batman the Animated Series, you had Spider-Man, and you had X-Men. But that was it.
Yeah.
It wasn't much. So I consumed as much as I could when I was a little kid.
Yeah, because it's interesting. This comes out. Now we have so many superhero movies. We might be getting 2 or 3 different versions of Batman released theatrically. There's going to be the Robert Pattinson one, but there's also going to be maybe one in the James Gunn universe, and there might even be some. There's also like other stuff happening. But this is like, oh, there's a Batman movie. If this doesn't do well, and if people hate it, which spoiler alert, they did, we might not get any Batman movies for a while, and we didn't. It's killed the franchise for like 8 years. So we take for granted that, like, oh, if the Snyder one doesn't work, then they're just gonna reboot it. Like, we're gonna get like another version of Batman, because there's always gonna be a Batman movie. Whereas superhero movies, this was really all we got was just Batman. We'd had the Superman movies in the 70s and going into the early 80s. Then we had, starting in 89, this series. But like I said, we don't get, there's a couple Marvel things, but they're not really, like, there's Blade and stuff. But like, as far as like superheroes, proper people with superpowers running around fighting villains in tights and stuff, you don't get those until after this.
Yeah.
So this is really all they got.
This was the end of the action figure, because like at least Spider-Man 1, which was still all about action figures, because I had so many of them, but like at least there was a story, there was a plot. This after like Batman and Robin, we don't get shit until 2001.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, can you imagine in today's world going 4 years without a superhero movie?
Yeah.
Like, not one superhero movie.
Right. We get one every 2 or 3 months.
If that. Maybe
Yeah.
if it's not in theaters, it's streaming. Like, there wasn't even anything on TV. It was, the Batman and Robin was so bad that people said, you know what? We're good. Enjoy your cartoons.
Well, one of the things that people still to this day talk about this movie, and is often a reviled part of it, and it was something that was in forever, but it gets really heightened here, is the bat nipples. That scene where they're like suiting up, and you're just seeing the close-ups of like the butts and the crotches and the boobs.
Schumacher
and like just
really
and then of course
wanted
the nip. Schumacher was all about having those bat nipples on the rubber suit, to the point where it gets parodied in Watchmen. What I just wanted, we got to talk about it. If we're talking about Batman and Rob, what do you think of the bat nipples in these bat suits?
It's very Roman. Schumacher clearly wanted Batman and Robin to have a Roman look when it comes from their chest plate down to the crotch. So it's one of those things, like, I get it, but it was a bad choice. There's nothing on the comics that has ever been like, yeah, it's Roman. No, it's, if anything, they're way tights. James Gunn is probably the closest thing we're going to get to a director to do anything correct of aesthetics. But when you think of like, yeah, I'm making body armor and it's going to protect me, can you put a little circle where my nipple would be? Like, atomically correct circle?
Yeah.
Please and thank you.
Because, yeah, it feels like a part of, obviously, we've talked about how camp this movie is. It's very, very camp. And, Joel Schumacher, the director, was obviously a gay man. And a lot of this movie definitely feels like a gay man being like, what are the straights like? And they just being like, oh, like, all, because there's a lot of lines where just like, Robin would be like, chicks dig the car, or like when just like how insane they go lusting after a point. She's like, pheromones, and he's like, yeah, this is what straight people. I just love that angle, just like how ridiculous and over the top. He's like, yeah, whatever, Batman and Robin, they're just like going insane for poison. There's Batman has a girlfriend or whatever, but she's not important. I just love the over the top campy style. Do you have anything you want to say about just all those interactions and just how camp this movie is?
Those interactions regarding Uma Thurman and Batman?
Yeah.
Oh my god. Okay, so as a kid, I just remember going like, okay, it's the power, it's the magic. As an adult, I'm going, there's no way these lines work on anybody. I'm when it comes to Uma Thurman and all of this, I feel like this is going to be not popular, and it goes against what you've been saying, and I am so sorry.
Mm.
But she gives pick me energy. It's like that girl that wasn't hot in high school that suddenly got hot, and then she's just going hard, going like, "This is how I'm going to get what I want." And I was never a fan. My favorite version of Poison Ivy will always be the Harley Quinn show, where she just hates everyone. And then we got that in Batman animated series, but with Uma Thurman, like she was having fun, and I was happy for her to have fun. Don't get me wrong, especially those outfits are ridiculous. But when it comes to like she has to kiss everyone to kill them because she thinks men are stupid and that's all they want. I was like, can we go to Mr. Freeze, please? Like,
Yeah, I mean that's fair.
But what about you? Like, obviously, like I'm on the opposite side of you.
Well, it's funny because like for a long time I was in the same camp where I was like, she is horrible in this, like she is awful, you know. But I think rewatching it this time, I was like, she understands the assignment, and I don't think she's necessarily a great Poison Ivy, because I agree with you. I love Poison Ivy. I think she's an incredible character. She's so good in the Harley Quinn show. She's very, very good on, you know, that old Batman show. Her and Harley Quinn once again having a really dynamic, interesting relationship. I like that she's kind of this like eco-terrorist, but in this one, she's just like a parody of that. But that's
they kind of make fun of her for trying to save the planet.
Yeah, they're like, whatever. Like, you know, her plan is so ridiculous. And then also her plan makes zero sense. She's like, I want to like make a world covered in plants, a new Garden of Eden. How are we going to do that? Freeze everything? I'm like, plants typically not going to do very well in the cold. I don't know, like why this is your team up with Mr. Freeze. Like, other than you have the hots for him, like, ironically.
I think it was I think she had the hots because she's like, that's not a man, that's a god. I was like, you just want to fuck. Just say you want to fuck. Because I agree. Plants don't survive winter. When he shows up at the end, he's like, hell freezes over. And I was like, man, he's gonna kill her.
And I love that that's where these characters end up, because in a lot of earlier Batman films, you know, the characters either end up dead, or the only exception I think was the Riddler, who ends up just insane.
Yep.
And so this is the only Batman movie where the villains end up intact. And I love that they end up in like this almost like no exit scenario where their like punishment is just being like with each other and driving each other crazy because he knows that she tried to murder his wife, you know, which is his whole motivation for doing everything. I love that ending for them. How did you feel about that?
Oh my god, no. The ending is great because it's basically she tried breaking up a couple, and then when he gets told the truth, which is also goes for that ending that you're talking about, like the George Arnold scene being so amazing, when he finds the truth, he wants revenge for her trying to ruin his amazing relationship as he tries to heal it. So I think she's getting her just reward, and then he kind of turns into a good guy in the end. So I'm like, oh man, he is, because they let him have his power suit. He's not trying to escape. He's in his power suit. I did want to bring this up. And I'm so sorry for jumping ship here, but it goes with Arkham, and it's the scene where Bane is grabbing his gear. Did you notice all the villain acknowledgements in that cell?
Oh, I loved that. I had that in my notes too. I was like, because there's not a lot of continuity in these movies. Like, obviously, Bruce Wayne has been 3 different actors in the last 3 movies. He has a new love interest in every movie. In this one, it doesn't even matter. And you could look, so many other things change. But I love that you have the personal effects room for all those supervillains. You have the villains from the last 2 movies. You have their suits with Tommy Lee Jones's Two-Face and Jim Carrey's Riddler stuff in there. I thought that was a really nice touch.
They had the Riddler, they had the Two-Face, they have Joker stuff there. They had the puppet. The puppet is what made me lose my mind. I can't think of his name, but the gangster, he's just chilling in there.
Is it Scarface? Is that what he is?
I'm going to say yes, but I just know it's the fact when he was just chilling there. I was literally going, "Oh my god!" Because I would love to see a movie where he's the villain, even though it would be laughed out of the theater. But if he was ever the villain and a director can make it make sense, I would lose my shit. I would absolutely lose my shit.
Speaking of all those villains and all this, that history that scene references, and we talked about Mr. Freeze and Poison Ivy and Bane, obviously, and how accurate or not accurate more often than not they were.
Oh, yeah.
And how did you feel? And obviously they changed Batgirl's story as like a diehard, dyed-in-the-wool Batman fan, with all the changes and everything, but also kind of seeming like it paid respect to the '60s Batman show. How did this play for you as a fan of Batman?
Oh, it is the worst Batman film in the
history. It's the bottom of the
Batman.
list. Okay,
It's the bottom. It is I'm gonna put Flash. I'm gonna put the Flash movie with that Batman. This is still the bottom of the barrel for me.
Okay, it's below Flash. The two George Clooney ones are the bottom of the list. Is that spoiler? George Clooney cameos as Batman in that movie, which I thought was incredible.
Yeah. Actually, so does Ben Affleck. But this is definitely the worst Batman movie. First, it's not just the worst Batman movie, it's the worst iteration of Batman. But I love Chris O'Donnell trying so hard to be an edgy Dick Grayson. It's, as a kid, that's who I love the most. And there was that storyline that was there. But now bear in mind, I am if anyone's going to come on the street and talk to me about individual issues, I won't be able to have that conversation. I'm not that kind of fan. But when it comes to the movies, absolutely, there is George. I still stand by this sentence. It's George Clooney in a bat suit with a camera crew in secret, and he has no idea they're filming this movie, and that he's just going, "Is Arnold Schwarzenegger wearing a bat? What? Okay." There's just I have seen so many different actors transform with the cowl on. I have seen their body structure, their mannerisms, everything changes when they put on the cowl. George Clooney is the only Batman actor that stays the same. Because even Adam West slightly changed, but I felt like Adam West was Batman even when he was Bruce Wayne. Whereas George Clooney is George Clooney as Bruce and Batman.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I definitely think that it leaves a little bit to be desired in terms of overall Batman adaptation. I'm glad you mentioned Chris O'Donnell as Robin, because Robin was also my favorite when I was a kid. Maybe it was just because I was young and he was the young one, but to this day, I still love Dick Grayson. He is my favorite DC character. Nightwing is my favorite DC superhero.
Okay.
To this day, I love Nightwing. I know DC's always talking about, or Warner Brothers is always talking about making a movie about Nightwing, and it's never going to happen because they keep resetting the continuity every 5 years.
Well, you know what we're getting with James Gunn, right?
What's that?
We're getting the Dick Grayson versus Jason Todd film.
Okay, I'm very interested. That's the first time I hear it, so I would be very interested to hear that.
Animated. It's animated, though.
Okay. I mean, that would be cool, but yeah, Chris O'Donnell just boof, woof, both because he's trying so hard to be cool, It's definitely once again, it feels like what an older gay man being what do the young straights is cool. I'm gonna make this, and it's in the other one he does the karate laundry. In this one he's just jumping around. It's just very and I no disrespect to him, but I do not think O'Donnell's performance is good at all in this. I actually think it's the worst performance of the movie, worse than George Clooney's or anybody else's. I think he's real bad. I think he's a nice person, but I think he's very bad in this. And I'm just very disappointed that we have not gotten a good representation of Dick Grayson on the big screen, at least in live action. And
oh my god, you think Chris O'Donnell did a worse job than George Clooney?
Yeah, because at least Clooney was good as Bruce. I don't even know he's just a whiny brat. He's just this annoying.
Well, yes.
He just sucks. I'm I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm too close to the game. I don't think it's a good performance. I tried to gaslight myself when I was a kid thinking it was cool, but even as a 7-year-old, I was this is not as cool as the one that's in the animated show.
Oh no! The animated for sure wins.
Yeah.
But the one downside for Chris O'Donnell's performance, he does not grow from Batman Forever to Batman and Robin, which is supposed to be so many years in between, but like he's the exact same character. If you told me this movie takes place one day later, I would believe you. He doesn't have any growth. And he's like, I want to have my own symbol in the sky. You won't let me fly. You don't save me. And then like there's a part in this film where he goes, I was falling and you didn't try and save me. It's the first time. And I'm like, bitch, you still got saved.
Right?
Like,
yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, he trusted me to save myself, but you didn't. You still needed to get saved. So I was like, that's a weird beat in the movie.
I wanted Barbara to chub in going, am I invisible? Hello?
Yeah. He has no growth in this movie. If anything, he reversed from the last one. You know, he just learns to be less of a whiny brat. Like, I don't know. I didn't like him. I will say, though, and there is that moment where I don't know if he did it on purpose, but like when George Clooney's addressing him, he puts a weird emphasis on his first name. He's like, all right, Dick. I'm like, Jesus Christ, this is a kid's movie. You can't be throwing that down with that hard D. Like, what the hell, dude?
George Clooney's line delivery it almost felt like he wasn't on set. It's just like they kept cutting to him, and I'm like, were these reshoots? Were these like his schedule because of ER? Was he not available as much? But
yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah. I will say I did like the Robin's logo in this, where instead of just being like an R in a circle, it's like got the like in the same way that Batman v Superman has the Superman logo superimposed on the Batman logo. It has like this new Robin logo. And, I think it incorporated into his bike. He crashes through a wall, and for some reason it makes his logo. Like, I liked his logo. What did you think of it?
No, I absolutely love it. The going through walls, I was getting theme park performances. I was like, man, that is a stunt show.
It's very Waterworld at Universal Studios.
Yes! 1,000,000%, yes! I love that they tried giving him the Nightwing look without going Nightwing because he's not Nightwing yet. I absolutely love here's the thing. I'm a big sucker for the Robin look with the little R over the symbol with the red and the green. Specifically Tim Drake. I love the Tim Drake look.
Okay.
But for Batman and Robin, he looked so cool. Whereas Batman looked so lame.
Yeah.
That Batman suit, it is bottom tier.
It's not great. It's not great. Especially, I don't love any of their costumes at the end where they have like the silver costumes, the like freeze ones, which once again are just there to be toyetic. They're there to sell another version of the. And it worked on me. I had those like frost ones when I was a kid, so it worked on me.
Story-wise, it makes sense.
Yeah.
We won't freeze because we got the silver, which is heat. And I was like, you know what? I believe you. I'm going with it.
Yeah. Another thing I want to talk about, changing gears a little bit, is all the cameos in this movie. Because there's a lot of good cameos in this. I wanted to know like which ones you noticed, which ones you picked out. Of course, interestingly enough, we have Pat Hingle, or not Pat. He's never mind. He's in all of these, but we have Vivica A. Fox shows up as like talk about your cold shoulder. She's great. You have Coolio randomly, and then you have a little mini Predator reunion. One of the guards is Jesse Ventura. Are there any other cameos or any of those cameos?
I wondered if I was like, he looks familiar. I couldn't tell. No, for me, definitely every time I always forget Coolio is in this movie until I watch it and I go, he's in this movie? Like every single time, because it's like one line. I feel like he just stumbled on set and said, "Sure, I'll do this." He's got like a dollar bill hanging on his shirt for no reason at all. But my favorite will always be John Glover, the crazy scientist. For anyone who does not know, he's Lionel Luthor.
This episode is brought to you by Fandango. People say fans are too distracted these days. But the truth is, when a great movie hits the screen, you show up. You stay glued, invested, part of the story. And without fans like you, there'd be no cinema magic, no shared moments. So head to Fandango.com to get tickets, stream, or rent or buy top movies and series. Fandango loves fans.
Protein is now at Starbucks, and it's never tasted so good. You can add protein cold foam to your favorite drink or try one of our new protein lattes or matcha. Try it today at Starbucks.
In Smallville. And so first I see him in this movie as a kid and I go, oh, he's a crazy scientist. Blah, blah, blah. Then Smallville happens. So now every time I see this movie, I keep going, hey, it's Lionel Luthor. What's up?
I very much had the same trajectory with him where I was like, wait, is that like watching Smallville when I was like, comes out when I'm like 13 or what, I was like, I think that's the guy, the crazy scientist. And talk about an actor who really gets it. Like he is just having the time of his life being this insane scientist. He's
fun. He's so fun.
Oh my god, yeah. And he's so good on Smallville. He's incredible as Lionel Luthor. So, like it's like very much Smallville would often pay its respects to like, usually Superman mythos, having like casting actors that had been in past Superman stuff, but they also, had him in it as well. So really, really, cool on that. Like I love Smallville. I was a very big fan of it for a long time. And the other cameo that you get is Patrick Leahy, who people, if you're like, who's that? He was from like 1975 to 2003, along with Bernie Sanders. He was the senator for Vermont, and he is a huge Batman fan. Where he he actually ended up cameoing in. His filmography is, let's see, 6 movies. They're Batman Forever. Then he was actually in the animated series. Then this movie, Batman and Robin, as himself, apparently, is how he's credited. Then he shows up in both Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises. And then, interestingly enough, his last credit, Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. So, hell yeah to Vermont.
This guy?
He was the Vermont. He's the senator from Vermont, along with Bernie Sanders. But yeah, he is just credited as himself. So he just kind of like, I think he shows up at one of the the parties or whatever. But he's a big Batman fan, and he's also like super cool. Look up his policies. He's really rad.
All right.
I think for the most part, I don't know. I don't want to like go on a definitive stand. Maybe he did something problematic in the past, but he seems super chill.
Show gets canceled. Like you're supporting somebody who's on the Epstein list. It's canceled. It's over.
But yeah, man, I don't know. Any last thoughts on Batman and Robin here before we wrap up?
Yeah, and it's someone who we didn't talk about yet, but I feel like he deserves our love and affection. And I still hold him as the gold standard. Michael Gough as Alfred Pennyworth.
Yeah.
When he was passing away, because he's been, like you said, he was Alfred all 4 films. He's like one of the few people that was always the guy. His performance, I don't know how close to the end of his life this film was, but he does such a good job where I'm like, I kind of think he was actually dying while making this movie. He is Alfred. He is who I think of as Alfred. I hate that his last Batman was with George. Like, I wish it would have been with Michael at least one more time.
Yeah. He's so good, and he was one of the things that, like, going back and rewatch, because it's weird, because like I have watched this movie over my lifetime dozens of times. I wore that VHS out. I still remember getting it for my 8th birthday and going to Raging Waters and being like, okay, I actually kind of want to go home now and watch Batman, because like I was so excited to have it on VHS, and I watch that thing all the time. And then this is because I haven't watched it in who knows, at least a decade and a half, if not more, and I still remembered like so much of it. But the emotions like came back to me where I was rewatching. I was like, we have already talked about that Arnold scene at the end. But, and there's obviously like a lot of the camp stuff that works, but the Gough stuff, like where it is that very different tone, and he feels like he is really in it. Like those scenes always work. And I was honestly kind of surprised in how much this movie worked for me. Like, I'm not saying it's some kind of secret masterpiece or something, but I was like, this is not the worst thing I've ever seen. I definitely had fun with it,
there's definitely way worse movies than this one. Because at least this one, there's like those redeeming qualities. Like there's the fun, there is the camp. Like this film never tries to tell you it's super serious. They know from the beginning that this is just going to be fun and we're here to have a good time, and hopefully you enjoy yourself as well. They know this, so I agree with you in that sense of like, this is not like, if there was, you told me, hey, we're watching Batman and Robin tonight, I'm not going fuck. I'm not complaining, but it's if I get to choose, I'll never pick it. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I would honestly like. It's a worse movie than Batman Forever, but I would rather watch this than Batman Forever because, like, it's the fact that it's a little bit worse makes it a little bit better. You know what I mean?
It's the same fucking film. Are you kidding me right now? Push play. I need you to do this. Take Batman Forever and Batman and Robin and push play at the same goddamn time. They have the same story beats for no reason at all. It's the same film. Batman and Robin, which blew my mind, is when you said it was more expensive than Batman Forever, which I think is crazy. But it's the same fucking film, just with different characters. But
I don't know, man. I don't know. This is like, I think this amps up the camp. Like they still have those elements, but it's like really over the top here, and it also amps up the like emotional Batman like behind the scenes personal life with Alfred.
Absolutely not.
Alfred is dying.
Val Kilmer goes to therapy. Val Kilmer is in therapy. There's more emotional with Val Kilmer. George is just like, I need you to trust me. Whereas Val Kilmer is like, no, I will not let you become me. Absolutely not. Do you know what kind of dreams I'm having? It's reverse trauma. Oh, it's childhood trauma that I haven't acknowledged. Oh, okay, well, you can have that, Chris. Okay, here we go.
You know what? I will let you ride for Batman Forever. I don't hate that movie. Go off, King.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. My final thought, absolutely, has to be that Batman v Superman is the most underrated film of all time, and I cannot wait till I get to defend that on this show.
It's coming soon. Everybody out there listening, don't worry, you won't have to wait too much longer. Me and Cole will be back again, so maybe next week, who knows, to really talk about this movie. So, you know, I know I've pulled the rug out a number of times, but I mean it this time, guys. So stay tuned.
Ben Affleck is the most accurate Batman that we've had on screen.
I mean, we gotta save that. We gotta save it. You know what we don't have to save, Cole, though? I did want to, because I've got you here. I know, other than Batman, I know that you've got the Batman hat on now, but I've seen you wear another DC superhero hat a lot, which is, of course, the Green Lantern hat. And, you know, now that we're in the Gunverse, right, we're getting, you mentioned, of course, oh, there we go, he's got the tattoo of Green Lantern.
Tattoo.
We are in the Gunverse, we're getting new versions of these superheroes. I have not made any secret the fact that I am a huge Damon Lindelof fan.
Oh.
What are your thoughts? What do you think how are you feeling about the Lanterns show that's going to be made by Lindelof that's coming out?
I am so scared. I am very excited, but I am so scared because the Ryan Reynolds movie is so bad. Every time anyone sees my tattoo, it's like they can't hold it in. They're compulsed to say, so did you see the movie? Like, everyone always asks me that. So, like, this series has to not only be a good show, but it has to overcome the Green Lantern movie. I think it's super smart having Hal be older and John be the young buck, and we're following the show through John's eyes. I am terrified that this show is supposed to come out in the summer of 26, and we haven't seen anything. We haven't seen a still. All we've seen is like an HBO moment of them in a car, and then Hal jumps out of the car, and then the car goes off a cliff. Like, we haven't seen what the constructs are going to look like. We don't know what the suits are going to look like. I don't know. Supposedly, they're going to have all the cores in there, which is a lot of CGI. I don't know how Atrocitus is going to show up. I don't know how Sinestro is going to look. I have so much concern and so much riding on this because I need this show to be good so badly, because Green Lantern is my superhero. That is my hero that I put all my chips in. But in the world we live in, with all of the political stuff, all of the cop situation, Black Lives Matter situation, like the super serious stuff. This show has a lot riding on it because Green Lantern's a cop. So how are you going to have a comic that has iconically been progressive still be a cop show without it being a cop show? Like how is it going to do it? I'm so scared because there's so much on its plate, because if they go too against the lore, people can be mad. If they go too into it, it's like people can be mad. It's like, I'm worried.
That's very fair. Did you see the Watchmen show at all by any chance?
No.
Okay. Well, I will say, having seen the Watchmen show, which addresses a lot of political issues like that, a lot of the Black Lives Matter stuff, its main character is a cop. It's made by Damon Lindelof, who is, of course, going to be the showrunner of this. Obviously, I don't have as much skin in the game as you, but with having seen that, I am very, very hopeful and very excited for what this Lantern show is going to be, because the way that and it's interesting because Lindelof essentially came out and was like, yeah, the reason I wrote Watchmen to be what it was he said he read the Ta-Nehisi Coates book Between the World and Me, and he was like, yeah, and I was like, well, I have to basically create something like this. He put all the stuff about the Tulsa race riots there, which is something that a lot of people didn't even know about. So I'm very, very optimistic about this one. So we'll see in the summer how this one ends up, but maybe we'll do a bonus podcast or something. Who knows, Cole? But I'm excited for this one. So yeah, glad to hear your thoughts on that. And so I've got my fingers crossed for you, but I think we're in good hands.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah. But yeah, Cole, thank you so much for coming on and doing this very ridiculous thing here with me, talking about this movie that everyone hates.
No, it's so fun to talk about. I don't know anyone who doesn't get excited to talk about Batman and Robin. It's as dumb as it is so fun to talk about.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I mean, if anybody out there would like to hear more of your stuff, where can they find you?
Oh, it's so I'm in two places. So you can always find me at the Welcome Party Pod, where our show's called The Welcome Party. We stream live on Twitch now. We're back on Twitch every Wednesday at 7:30. That's where you can find me on the show with JPG and Alex, who have also been on this show, where we are your introductory to nerd culture, geek culture, and we try to do things individually. Or you can find me by myself also on Twitch on Mondays and Fridays. The Rogue Geek 23. Someone owns the Rogue Geek, and I'm kind of annoyed by that, but 23 is my favorite number, so here we go with 23. But yeah, the Rogue Geek 23. Mondays I kind of do my own little podcast where I'm talking about a latest subject, but also the news, and I'm just geeking out with everybody. And then on Fridays I just play some video games. But that's where you can find me.
Nice, yeah. Cole, big fan of that Jim Carrey movie from like 2003 or 2009, whatever it came out.
Oh my God. No, honestly, Michael Jordan, and I wish you guys could see this, but only you get to see this, Derick. They're selling this at Target now.
It's secret stuff.
Mike's secret stuff, though. It's a water bottle. When I saw that, I was like, I need to buy this.
That's pretty great.
Yeah, everyone bought the jerseys, but I was like, I need the secret stuff so I can go to the gym and get buffed like Bugs Bunny.
Very good stuff. Yeah, definitely everyone check Cole and the rest of the Welcome Party out there. They're doing good stuff. And then if you'd like to check out any more of my stuff, we talked obviously a lot about superhero stuff. I also do the show Infinity Stones and Dragon Bones. By the time this comes out, we're in the middle of Daredevil, I think, so I'm about to release my Daredevil episode for Infinity Stones and Dragon Bones, but you can check out any of my reviews of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I also do another show called Midnight Film Society every other Friday with my friend Damien, where we just kind of talk about recently released movies and pop culture stuff. And then, of course, I also have the Patreon, patreon.com/underratedmoviepodcast, where I have bonus podcasts, new ones every year. This year's is called Minute Deus, where I'm breaking down Amadeus 15 minutes at a time, so in a movies by minute style, but doing it at 15-minute chunks instead of 1-minute chunks, because that is too much for me. But yeah, I would love you guys to go check that out. That all is also on underratedmoviepodcast.com, or you can find me on social media at Underrated Movie Podcast. Till next time, guys, stay safe out there and keep protecting Gotham City.
Think Verizon is expensive? Think again. Anyone can bring their AT&T or T-Mobile bill to a Verizon store today, and we'll give you a better deal. So bring us your bill. Walk in, run in, pogo stick in, teleport if you can. Ride on the back of a rollerblading yak or fly in on the wings of a majestic falcon. Any way you can, bring your AT&T or T-Mobile bill to a Verizon store today, and we'll give you a better deal on the best network. Based on RootMetrics Best Overall Mobile Network Performance, U.S. Second Half 2025. All rights reserved. Must provide very recent postpaid consumer mobile bill in the name of the person redeeming the deal. Additional terms, conditions, and restrictions apply.
How many discounts does USAA Auto Insurance offer? Too many to say here. Multi-vehicle discount, safe driver discount, new vehicle discount, storage discount, legacy.
How many discounts will you stack up? Tap the banner or visit USAA.com/auto discounts. Restrictions apply.